Hey everybody, welcome back to Political Excess. Got another deep dive this time. It is for Michigan governor. Been really busy lately, but I'm trying to get some more of these done. So let's get into this one and start on Ballotpedia for a little bit of background. The incumbent governor is Democrat Gretchen Whitmer. She's running for re-election to a second term. 4 years ago, when she first won election, she won with over 53% of the vote, good enough for a 9.5-point margin. Prior to serving as governor, she did spend some time in the Michigan State House and State Senate. Her opponent on the Republican side is Tudor Dixon. Dixon has a background in business and political commentary. So let's take a look at their primaries. Well, Gretchen Whitmer was unopposed in her primary. And on the Republican side, you might remember it was chaotic. Several candidates were disqualified due to ballot signature issues. So after all that happened, Tudor Dixon won that Republican primary with almost 39% of the vote. Her next closest challenger had about 20%. And there will also be several third-party candidates on the ballot as well. So let's go down here and see how this race is rated. Well, the Cook Political Report has it at likely Democratic, Inside Elections has it at tilt Democratic, and Larry Sabato has it at likely Democratic. My own rating is lean Democratic. I think Gretchen Whitmer is a little bit polarizing, but hasn't appeared quite weak enough to be defeated just yet. The Republicans did have that chaotic primary, and that's given Whitmer a head start. The polling has shown Whitmer consistently in the lead, sometimes by double digits. It's narrowed up a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but as of now, I don't think it's narrow enough for Whitmer to be defeated. There is a small chance there can be an upset, but as of now, I think Tudor Dixon is headed for defeat. And we can go down here and take a look at the campaign finance, and we see Gretchen Whitmer is massively ahead of Tudor Dixon. Let's go down here and see how the counties are trending on a presidential level. And we can see 46% of the population lives in 8 counties that are solid Democratic, and that is defined as having voted for the Democrat for president in the last 3 elections. On the other end, 29.1% of the population lives in 61 counties that are solid Republican. There are another 11 counties with 16.3% of the population that are trending Republican, and those counties voted for Barack Obama in 2012 and then voted for Donald Trump twice. So let's go down here and take a look at some of these counties. Wayne County is the most populous county with Detroit. They voted for Joe Biden by 38%, although we can see that margin is reduced from 10 years ago when Barack Obama carried it. Another population-heavy county is Oakland, and that has trended toward the Democrats by a few points. And Macomb County, that's another pivotal county that the Republicans have to do well in if they want to compete statewide. Last time Trump won that by 8 points. So much of the population does live in these southeast counties, in and around Detroit and the suburbs. The margins in those counties are crucial. But another county, such as Kent, which has Grand Rapids, that's another county that has clearly trended away from the Republicans and flipped for the Democrats this past election. There are a few other blue cities and blue counties scattered around the state, but a lot of these red counties could go a little bit redder. Most of them are working class and have trended toward the right. But if the blue cities and the suburbs are going to trend away from the Republicans, they really are going to have to run up their margins in these red counties. These counties in the Upper Peninsula, a lot of this area did support Democrats a couple decades ago. Not very many people live up here, but it's another place Republicans are going to have to squeeze out votes if they want to win statewide. Let's switch over and take a look at the county map for the 2018 governor's election. So Gretchen Whitmer had over 53% of the vote, and she carried Kent County by about 4 points. She carried Wayne County by 43 points, and she carried Macomb by 3.5. That's good enough for about a 9.5-point win statewide. But if we take a look at the margins, we can see a lot of these red counties are only minimally red. That was a blue wave year. It was an open seat, and that created kind of a lopsided win for Whitmer. I would expect this year the margins to be reduced. By how much they'll be reduced, that is the key question. Let's switch over to YouTube and see what they've got on their channels. Here's Gretchen Whitmer's channel. She has some ads, some shorts, other things related to her campaign on here. And here's Tudor Dixon's channel. She has clips from the debates, media appearances, ads, etc. And how about their official campaign websites? Here is Gretchen Whitmer's if you want to read about what she's up to or donate to her campaign. And here is Tudor Dixon's channel if you want to see where she stands on the issues or support her campaign. And how about the debates? Well, there were 2 debates. I did watch the first one. The second debate was yesterday. I have not gotten around to watching it. I've been very busy. I think the first debate probably helped Dixon a little bit because many voters were probably unfamiliar with her and that gave her a platform. And let's switch over to Wikipedia and take a look at the endorsements. She has Biden, Harris, Obama, Bernie Sanders, and plenty of organizations. Here's Tudor Dixon's. She has the Donald Trump endorsement, and she even has Tulsi Gabbard on here. And let's go down here and take a look at the polling. And right now, in the aggregate, Gretchen Whitmer is ahead 3.6%, 48.2 to 44.6. At 538, Whitmer has a 5.7% advantage. And this graph shows us that the race has tightened up a little bit here in the last few weeks. But how about the individual polls? Well, the most recent poll from Signal, it's a Republican-aligned pollster, shows Whitmer with a 6-point lead. Trafalgar shows a tied race, 48 apiece. And the rest of these generally show Gretchen Whitmer with a lead. Sometimes it's a couple of points, sometimes it's a lot more than a couple of points. So if I add all that up, it does seem like Whitmer at least has an edge. There could be a hidden vote out there. They, of course, can be undersampling Republican support. That is definitely a possibility. Right now, if it's only 1 or 2 points, though, I think Whitmer still wins. If it's more like 3 or 4 points, or if Tudor Dixon has a late surge, she probably would be able to slightly eke out a win. Let's compare these poll results to how they stacked up in 2018. And these polls probably slightly underestimated Whitmer, also probably underestimated Bill Schuette by a very small margin as well. A couple of these other polls farther back did show a narrower race, so some of these polls were kind of hit or miss. And finally, we can get on Predicted and take a look at the markets. And this shows us that Gretchen Whitmer is at 69 cents and Tudor Dixon is at 35 cents. And this race has narrowed up over the last couple of weeks. Before that, Gretchen Whitmer was in the high 80s. So what's the conclusion here? Well, I think it's clear that Gretchen Whitmer does have an edge. It's possible the polls are undersampling Republicans yet again in the Rust Belt, but I can't bank everything on that. If this race gets truly competitive in the final week or two, we should see Tudor Dixon ahead by 1 or 2 points in at least a couple of polls. She doesn't have to be winning every poll for there to be an upset. I would guess that her support is probably undervalued just a little bit, but I would still say Gretchen Whitmer does have the edge. There's still more than a week and a half to go, so something definitely can happen. Most of the national issues do favor the Republicans. There's an abortion referendum that will be on the ballot in Michigan that tends to favor the Democrats. There's also third-party candidates on the ballot. We don't know how much support they're going to take away from the other two. Whitmer is an incumbent. She's relatively polarizing. She might have ambitions for another office beyond governor. It's going to be all about the margins in those key counties. Dixon is going to have to win some of those swing counties and increase her margins in those deep red Trump counties. And if Whitmer does lose, I would at least be moderately surprised. But at least at this point, it should be a close race, under 5 points. Those earlier polls showing Whitmer with a 10 or 15 point lead, those did seem to be unbelievable. But you never know how it's going to go. I don't like making hard predictions, but this will be another fun one to follow on election night. And that is a bit of a deep dive into this Michigan governor's election. Let me know in the comments, are you following this race, and what do you think the margin is going to be? And if I missed anything, let me know down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.